What is up, y'all? It's B&E Sports Talk coming back after draft day. Honestly, this one was pretty intense. I'm not sure how Malik Neighbors is feeling up there in New York. Hopped off saying Daniel Jones.
I actually did talk to Daniel Jones. He was just like, I'm happy that you're here.
Dude, Michael Penix to the Falcons. That's a true general manager move, and I know people are ripping on it, but screw it. Other than that, crazy stuff with Bo Nix going to the Broncos, J.J. McCarthy to the Vikings. We had 6 quarterbacks going the first 12 picks. Let's hop straight into some grades today. Evan and I are going to go through each team and give you our opinion on each team's draft.
Let's jump right in with the Cardinals. They got Marvin Harrison Jr., number 4 overall. I like the pick. But deeper than that, they had 12 picks in this draft, which is great for any team, specifically one with as many needs as the Cardinals. And I think they did an amazing job of hitting all their needs. They got their skill players at receiver and running back. They got a couple defensive linemen, and they got their offensive linemen ranging, between the 3rd and 6th round, which is fine. They got their defensive backs, which was their main thing that I think they needed to hit. They got 1, 2, 3, 4 defensive backs, 3 of which I think are going to make a pretty immediate contribution on this team. I give the Cardinals an A for this draft. I love it.
I 100% agree with you. That A is fully agreed with on my part. Nothing better than a good legacy player, especially Marvin Harrison Jr. And I also really mess with Trey Benson. I think he's going to be great out of the backfield for Kyler Murray, like a dual threat guy that can catch the ball and run it. So I'm excited for the Cardinals. Definitely an A.
I can't wait to see what Marvin Harrison Jr. does in fantasy as well. I think he's going to come right in on a fringe wide receiver 1 status.
Yeah, right away.
Okay, down to Atlanta Falcons. We're just going to go in alphabetical order today, guys.
Hey, I'm excited about this. I think that the Falcons did a good job of hitting everything that they needed and wanted to get. They got a couple good guys out of it. They're playing like true GMs. For the right now, I feel like that's how we should kind of grade these, is for the now, like how it's going to affect the team.
Yeah.
The only people that I can see filling in at the moment are Braylon Trice and that Rook. I see them coming straight in and starting right off the rip.
Those 2 dudes they're going to fit. I think they'll be good pieces for that defense.
But everybody else, I'm not so sure.
I like Brandon Dorlus out of Oregon, the defensive end they got as well in the 4th round. With that being said, though, I don't have an F for any team in this draft. If I were to have given an F, it would have been to the Falcons. I give them a D plus, I guess. Probably the lowest draft grade I'm going to give all day. The only reason they get the plus on there is because they went and attacked the edge position in the 2nd through 7th rounds. What they did not do, they didn't draft a single member of the secondary. They passed on Dallas Turner. They passed on Latu to go get a quarterback who will not see the field for a minimum of 4 years, bearing Kirk Cousins' health. I don't like anything here. They traded up to go get Rook Orahoro in the 2nd round. And where they drafted him was honestly kind of a reach, in my opinion. They drafted him, I believe, as 4th pick in the 2nd round, number 35 overall.
They picked him over Johnny Newton, right?
Yes. Anyways, though, yeah, the Falcons, it's an all-around failure in this draft, I think. They failed to go get Kirk Cousins a legitimate defense. They really could have patched up their defense in the secondary and the pass rush. They did an okay job in the pass rush.
I agree that they didn't do anything in their secondary. However, I'm on board with the Penix pick if that's really what they want. I know it doesn't do anything in the now. For the future, I think it's good. And then they brought in 2 line starters that we talked about at edge and defensive tackle. Not the best draft. I like the idea that they were trying to go with, but it just wasn't there. I give them a C minus,
Yeah, just because you like the Penix pick a little more than I do.
Yes,
okay.
That's it. That's all it is the Penix pick for me. I like it.
So, yeah, let's move on to Baltimore Ravens. I was not very thrilled with the Nate Wiggins pick in the 1st round. I think they passed up on getting offensive linemen, but they did address that in the 2nd round.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved the Adisa Isaac pick in the 3rd.
I like that
guy
as
out
well.
of Penn State. I think that'll fit really well into their defense. And then they got TJ Tampa, who fell. I think that is a money value pick. TJ Tampa should not have fallen to day 3, in my opinion. That's a 2nd or a 3rd round player, pretty much on everybody's board that I looked on. He was a mid to late 2nd round player.
Yeah.
He should have gone 3rd round after he fell. But yeah, they got him in the 4th.
Great value there.
The end of the 4th, too. It might have even been the beginning of the 5th. I'm number 130 overall. Regardless, though, they have a full fat A+ on day 3 from me. Just strictly off that pick. I didn't love the Nate Wiggins pick on day 1. This is an A draft, but like it kind of bumps it down to the A- just off the Nate Wiggins pick.
Yeah. You gave it an A-.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it an A- as well. I feel like they address the things that they need. They really did get a steal with TJ Tampa down there in the 4th round at pick 30. But yeah, they address some needs. They also got a fast receiver. I think that's awesome. They also hit cornerback, which is what they really needed to do.
Yeah, like I'm not mad that they got Nate Wiggins. I don't think Nate Wiggins is a bad player. I just think there was better value on the board.
Yes, I agree.
I would have personally gotten an offensive tackle right there in round 1 if I were them. Because
and then circled around.
Yeah, because there was so much cornerback depth sitting in your face.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Up next is Buffalo.
Buffalo did the trade down move in day 1. They got completely out of the 1st round. They didn't gain very much on these trades, not as much as I would have liked it for them to. But I give them an A just for the trade down because I'm guessing that they were going for Keon Coleman this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give them an A for that. Trading down, getting a little bit of extra value added, and getting their guy still. But then really after that, they did nothing in this draft that like just wowed me. They attacked some needs. They got defensive back, defensive line, running back, offensive line. They kind of just dibbed and dabbled everywhere all over the team. I'm glad that they tackled their offensive line as the later rounds swooped around. But again, these are later round players, so who knows if they'll end up making any contributions.
Van Pronger will make a good contribution.
Yeah, he's a great center at Georgia, so hopefully he ends up being a starter here up in Buffalo. I'm going to give them a B overall. Like I this draft class did not inspire much for me.
I agree with you. I'll give them a B. They addressed what they needed to. They just didn't address it when they needed to. But yeah, I give them a B as well. I like the Ray Davis pick. I like the Van Pronger pick. And Keon Coleman is also...
I love the Keon Coleman pick. Like him and Josh Allen sound amazing together.
He's going to fit right on in there. Yeah, we're also going to see a lot of Ray Davis coming out behind James Cook.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, no, that'll be a fun little duo to watch. I'm a big fan of James Cook as well, so I'm excited to see that coming out of a backfield where truly it's 3 runners.
Yeah.
Okay, the Panthers are up next. They traded up a pick from 33 to 32. Obviously, they did not originally have a first-round pick. They traded up from the first pick of the second round to the last pick of the first to get their man Xavier Leggett out of South Carolina. I believe in our mock draft of our second round, not sure if y'all watched it, we had the Panthers picking Leggett 33. I love the fit. I just love it. The fact that they traded up to get him and gave up even more resources that they do not have to waste.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
But it just comes to show that, they value this guy. They want him.
They were scared the Bills might pick him.
Yeah.
I love the fit.
I think they've been watching him all year, and they've known that they want to get this guy at some point in the draft. It was just a matter of where.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happened that the end of the first round was going to work. And they were able to trade up from the top of the second to get there.
Yeah, I'm fine with the trade. They didn't have to give up tons. But then they got Jonathan Brooks in the second. This is a pick where it's like, you're as down bad as the Panthers are. You do not pick a running back in the second round, no matter how good they look.
Right. You just paid Miles Sanders a ton of money. And he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Waste of a fantasy draft pick.
They finally just hit their linebacker spot at the third round. That's a fine pick with me. Trevin Wallace out of Kentucky. I like that. Get a tight end out of Texas. They just need defense and skill players.
It's just a letdown of a draft outside of that first round pick for me, honestly.
Me too.
We were talking about the Falcons not having a good draft. This is worse than the Falcons in my opinion.
I disagree that it's worse than the Falcons, but this is not exciting. They hit the wrong positions at the wrong times.
At least the Falcons got 2 starters. And
I mean, dude, the Panthers are so bad. These guys
quarterback.
might end up being starters out the 5th and 6th round.
You never know. I mean, and you just can't bank on it like that.
I'm not banking on anything with the Panthers. I'm just saying, like, this is a B- draft to me all the way through and through. This is not a good draft by any stretch of the mind, but it's still a step in the right direction for the Panthers.
This is a D+ draft for me.
Really?
None of these guys really speak out to me other than Jonathan Brooks and Xavier Leggett. And they didn't even need Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, that's the thing. They didn't need Jonathan Brooks in the second. That's why, like,
I mean, they didn't even need to draft Javian Sanders in the 4th round with the first pick in the 4th round. You can't do that. You're not in a position to do that right now. I know he's a great player. The man is sick. He's probably going to be pretty good, but no, I just don't mess with it. It's a D+ draft for me, and it's probably my worst draft grade, but we'll see as we keep going. I just didn't really mess with it.
Let's move on to the Chicago Bears. They had 2 first-round picks, number 1 and number 9. Only 3 picks after day 1. Obviously, they attack quarterback with Caleb Williams, and then they go receiver with Rome Odunze at number 9. And then they literally drafted a punter from Iowa with the 122nd pick. They also got a tackle and a defensive end. We're really just going to focus on these number 1 and number 9 pick right here.
For me, this is an A draft. I really like that they were probably targeting Caleb Williams the second they realized they didn't want Justin Fields anymore. So they got their guy. And then the fact that Rome Odunze fell to them at 9 is sick.
Yeah.
And then they got a great offensive tackle in the 3rd round, which was something that they also needed to address. The Torrey Taylor pick gets a lot of shit, but he's a damn good punter.
He's a damn good punter. He's a good punter.
I like the draft.
You gave him an A?
Yeah, that's an A draft for me. They probably could have taken somebody other than a punter, but
I'm giving them an A- because they took a punter. You have 5 total picks in this whole draft, and you have 2 picks left. You're like, yo, let's get a punter. That's the mindset of kind of like, bruh, I don't know. Karen, I can't ever say this dude's name. The Yale offensive tackle. I watched a bit of his tape in the draft preview process thing, and he does seem like that's a good pick in the 3rd round. Those first 2 picks, though, I am not a Caleb Williams fan, but that's clearly been their guy like for a year. So I'll give it an A+ because they got their guy. The Rome Odunze pick at number 9, A+ for me. Great pick. They definitely could have gone edge, like Latu or Dallas Turner were both on the board. That would have also been an A+ for me. I love this Rome Odunze pick. You have DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Keenan Allen to bring a rookie quarterback into. That's how you start a guy's career.
And you got Cole Kmet at tight end to fill it out, and it's awesome.
Clearly, they finally got their tackle in the 3rd round. At this point, this is the most optimistic I've been about the Bears all offseason because they got Rome Odunze with that 9th pick.
Yeah, no, it's a sick pick, and even if Caleb Williams doesn't work out,
Odunze will be great.
Great receiver.
Odunze will be great. Yeah, A- for me, A for you. I like that draft.
Yeah.
Bengals.
I like the Bengals draft.
And they got kind of shit on by everybody. The media shit all over their whole draft, and I kind of like it.
They filled their needs. How do you shit on somebody for picking a 6'8" offensive tackle that went to an SEC school that has proven track record? He's hard standing up against guys like Dallas Turner. And they also went legacy in the 2nd round with Chris Jenkins.
Love the pick. I love the pick.
They needed to get a defensive tackle.
And then they got Jermaine Burton
to replace T. Higgins.
Dude.
And there's not a lot of better people to come in and do that. Jermaine Burton is a sick pick. He just had some character flaws. That's honestly the only reason he didn't get any higher.
I'm not worried about that dude in the NFL. Great pick in the 3rd round.
Agreed. They also got Josh Newton too, which was a great pick.
Our Bengals homie Grant, big TCU guy. I know he loved that pick.
Yeah, no, that was massive.
The only big question I have is kind of like, why'd you draft 2 tight ends?
Because any Cincinnati person can tell you that
their tight ends never work out.
Never work out. So if you see 2 that you like and you get a chance to draft both of them, screw it.
Yeah,
I'm taking them both. I'm trying them out, and maybe one of them works. Maybe they don't work, and you look foolish, but
they never work out.
At least you tried. At least you tried.
But yeah, all in all, I love the draft. They didn't get any huge names or whatever. Mims isn't even going to play much this year, their 1st round pick. But I love the pick because the guys they signed are on short contracts. I'm going to give them a B+ in this draft. They're right on the cusp with the A- range. But this is a good B+. This is a positive B+.
I agree. I'll give them a B+ as well. They address their needs, but yeah, like you said, Mims might not contribute that much this year. And then Newton will also need that same development time too. This draft will look like an A in the future, but for right now, it's a B+. On to Cleveland.
Cleveland is still shipping out picks for Deshaun Watson. So I give them a fat F- for day one because they literally spent their first round pick on Deshaun Watson this year, essentially. And we all know how that's going. But I love every freaking pick they made after that, to be quite honest with you. Like, I like every pick they made. I like Michael Hall, a defensive tackle.
Jamari Thrash is also hard as hell. He'll show some serious talent. He's going to get a shot real quick.
I like the Jamari Thrash pick, but what I really love is the fact that they got Michael Hall Jr. out of Ohio State on their defense, which was elite last season. Their only actual hole going into this year is defensive tackle. They addressed that with their first pick, clearly stating that defense is still their priority, which I love, by the way. And then right after that, they go and get Zach Zinter. To me, that's an A+. Through and through. I love that pick. If Michael Hall is like an A-, Zach Zinter is an A+. They get an A for day two. After that, though, they go, Jamari Thrash, Watson, Harden, and Briggs. Straight defense and a receiver, pretty much. To me, all they're doing is showing me how much they're invested in that defense, and I'm okay with it. They need to just keep attacking their line.
They hit with the picks that they needed to hit with. Or that 2, 3, and 5. They had to get players that are going to contribute 100%, and each of those players are going to contribute.
Yes. So, like, grade-wise,
a flat A.
That's what I was about to say. For the picks that they had and the picks that they made, an A. I agree. But the fact that their first-round pick was spent on Deshaun Watson, this is a B-, dude. It goes from an A to that. Because imagine if they had a first-round pick in this draft.
I just hope for their own sake that Deshaun Watson comes out there and goes hard.
I'm giving an overall B- to Browns, but with the picks they had, I think they made the best of them, and I give them an A for those 5 picks they made.
A draft.
Dallas Cowboys.
Once again, there's nothing better than a 6'8" offensive tackle. It's sick. It's raw. You don't necessarily know what you're going to get, but I like the way it looks. He looked darn good at Oklahoma. They were able to also get a hold of Cooper Beebe, which is massive. The fact that they were able to address the line is huge. Outside of that, I don't have much to say about the Cowboys draft. It's a B+ draft because y'all didn't get a running back is all I'm going to say.
Day one of this NFL draft, A+ for me. We trade back from 24 to 29. We get Tyler Guyton. I think we wanted Mims. First of all, he wasn't there. Mims got picked right before we would have picked. I think that was our dude. We got a free 3rd-round pick. And we picked Tyler Guyton, who I think we would have picked regardless at 24 once Mims got taken. I'm completely fine with that pick. I think that's an A+ day one with the trade, with the pick. That's all cool. Day two rolls around. At the moment in time, I was kind of disappointed when we got Marshawn Kneeland, not because of anything about his talent or what he's done or who he can be, but because it wasn't an offensive lineman. And I think the Kneeland pick kind of plays into the Liafu, whatever the hell, however you say his name, from Notre Dame. They play into each other. I think Mike Zimmer has a real plan with this defense, and he's getting dudes that are very versatile like that. And I'm excited. I think these two dudes can line up with Parsons anywhere, and offenses kind of won't know like who's doing what and what's coming at them. So overall, we did not get a running back. I'm happy we didn't get a running back in the first 3 rounds, but I kind of wanted a running back in like the 5th round or 6th round. I don't know. As a Cowboys fan, looking forward to a year in 2024 that looks really trash. I think we had the best drafts we possibly could have outside of not getting a running back. I would have given us an A or an A+ had we drafted a running back in the 5th or 6th round, even the 7th, but we didn't. So I'm going to give it an A- for the Cowboys. I think it's an overall great draft, though. Let's move on to your Broncos. I think this is another team I just give a fat F to on day one. Them and the Falcons, in my opinion, just completely fumbled day one. I'm not mad at Bo Nix going to the Broncos. I can see that being a great fit.
It's just where they got him.
It's where they got him, the value they got him at, the value they paid. I don't love that whatsoever. It's an F for day one for me. And then you follow it up with a linebacker in Jonah Ellis, which is kind of another whatever
He's
pick.
more of a defensive end type of thing. Kind of a roaming outside linebacker.
Yeah, and that's kind of a whatever pick for me, to be quite honest with you. I love the Troy Franklin pick, though. You pair Troy Franklin with Bo Nix, straight out of Oregon. In my opinion, Troy Franklin fell a little bit farther than he should have. I had like a late 2nd round, early 3rd round grade on him. So, yeah, that's a value pick. To me, that's the best pick of y'all's draft. I like the defensive back you got out of Missouri. And I really, really, really like Audric Estime. Yeah, the Notre Dame running back. I actually barely had ever heard of him or watched him play much prior to this draft. But then I went and watched 45 minutes of his tape a couple days ago, and I'm very impressed. That could end up being the best running back out of this draft class. And then your late picks, whatever. I don't think they're going to end up really doing anything. They're good picks, but they're positionally, they're good picks. There's no guarantees when it comes to that, though.
The only thing I have to say about that receiver is that he's 6'4", 200 and something pounds. So
Veely,
massive.
the Utah receiver, yeah. And we'll see what happens with Cortland Sutton's contract and whatnot. Maybe he'll end up getting some playing time that we're not foreseeing.
Cortland ought to stick around. I don't see him going anywhere. We need somebody to be there for Bo, especially somebody with some experience.
So yeah, my grade on this, I'm gonna give him a C-, just above the D+ I gave to the Falcons. Because I think the Bo Nix pick, as bad as it was still just reactionary. I think y'all wanted Bo Nix no matter what, but you're planning on getting him in the second. And when the Falcons screwed the draft by picking Penix,
it made everything speed up a little bit.
Yeah, then I think we have to pick him 12. I don't think that y'all went into the draft we're picking Nix at 12. I don't think that was on anybody's mind at that point.
Right.
I do think that y'all thought he was going to be your future quarterback before the draft started. I think you went into it yeah, this is our dude.
Definitely. I know we did for a fact. Yeah, after hearing Sean Payton talk, 100% that was the way.
Yeah, I just don't think y'all thought that's where you were going to get him. And that's what ruins the draft for me. That's a C- at best for me.
I'll make it a B-, just because I know the Knicks pick, the value on it kind of hurt. But ultimately, Broncos got the guy that they wanted to get. Sean Payton got the guy he wanted to get. And that's a lot of value in itself. I also like that they were able to pair his top receiver with him. Troy Franklin isn't a joke. Man's fast as hell. 6'2".
The best pick y'all made.
Man can move.
That's the best pick of the draft for y'all.
Yeah. And then this Chris Abrams drain he's short, slot corner, but he's going to be darn good. I like everything that we addressed. We addressed our needs. Could have valued things a little bit better. We got some steals, but we should have valued things a little bit differently.
I bet you're pissed to give them a B-.
I don't want to give them a B-. I'm trying with all my heart to believe in what we got. I feel like we could have gotten a little bit of value. There's no way that nobody from 13 to 20 wanted to move up to come draft somebody like Latu or Dallas Turner. Ain't no fucking way.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on down to Detroit. In my opinion, they had a pretty great early draft anyways, getting Terry and Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw.
The Lions had a great draft to me. They addressed every single need that they needed to hit. Terry on Arnold is going to be sick.
And Rakestraw.
Roll Tide.
Yes.
And then Rakestraw on top of it is going to be so good for them. That's exactly what they needed. Their draft gets an A+ from me because they addressed all their needs. The value in which they picked the guys that they needed all happened where it needed to happen, in my opinion.
So that dude they picked at 126 overall, Giovanni Manu, he's a Canadian. And the fact that the Lions locked down their tackles, they're able to go take a flyer on a dude like that. He's athletically, physically built out for the NFL. And if he ends up developing into what he can be, if he gets all the other skill sets down and stuff, we can look back on it and be like, why wasn't he a top 20 pick in this draft?
I 100% agree. Great value.
I love that pick.
And look at his size real quick. Tell me how tall he is.
Manu? 6'7", 350 pounds.
I've got my shit sitting here saying 6'8". Regardless, another massive ass tackle.
Yeah.
A massive tackle. And if he fills into that,
Yeah, and he doesn't have to play. He won't have to play, bearing injuries. That's the beauty of being in the position that the Lions are in right now. I love the pick. I'm not really big on their day 3 picks. They're kind of just filling some holes or whatever. NFL.com gave the Lions a B, a flat B for this draft. I'm going to go A-. Their secondary was the weakness, and they attacked their secondary with their first 2 picks.
Yeah.
And get day 1 starters.
Yep.
Day 1 contributors. I love it. Packers
had a good draft.
I disagree.
I mean, they had a lot of picks.
They had a lot of picks. They had 11 picks. I just think they could have done more.
Jordan Morgan's good. Edrin Cooper's good. Javon Bullard's good. Marshawn Lloyd's good.
It's not that they're not good. It's just kind of where they picked these guys.
Packers probably get somewhere around an A- for me. I didn't like the Jordan Morgan pick. I feel like there was somebody better on the board, but it still fills a need. And maybe they graded him out better than some of the other guys, and in their mind, he was a better pick.
I guess.
So just off of that, I give him an A-.
Like, I'm giving them a B flat. The Packers, they always find a way to win, but they usually suck at drafts as of recent years. I don't know why. They just don't draft well.
I feel like they feel like people won't be available later when they will, and they just go ahead and take them.
That's my thing. Like, it's like, bro, you could, like, I'm looking at some of these picks, and it's like, you could have traded down and gained, like, in the first round. If you wanted Jordan Morgan, you could have traded down and gotten a third-round pick out of that.
Right.
I just think the value where they got them, as usual, the Packers do nothing to excite me. They'll be good next year. No doubt they'll be good.
Yeah. Jordan Love's coming into his own.
That's one of those teams the draft seems to just not affect. Every freaking year, we're like, dude, what did they just do in this draft? And they come out and win 11 games.
I mean, it's like whenever they pick Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones back-to-back, and everybody was like, what the fuck? And then it ends up working out.
Yeah. Like, it's just one of those teams where it's like, we'll blast them on draft day, and it ends up working out.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm going to give them a B. I'm sure they're going to end up with the A- or whatever you said. That's how it goes with that team. The Texans.
I like this draft. The Texans just seem to keep doing everything right.
A+++++ for the whole offseason as a whole.
Yes. And the A+ draft on top of it. They get a great cornerback coming out of the SEC.
Yeah, Kamari Lassiter's hard as hell.
And fills a need right off the rip.
I'll give them an A-, but their ceiling was an A in this draft. They did almost as good as they could have done.
Yeah.
Great draft from the Texans. Just an amazing offseason. I cannot wait to watch this team. Kamari Lassiter is going to be hard as hell.
Yes.
I can't wait to watch this team play football this year.
It's going to be
Their
good.
defense is going to be so much better than last season. Their offense is going to be better because CJ Stroud has a year under his belt, obviously, but like their defense.
And playoff experience.
Oh, you see Tank Dell got shot last night?
Yeah. True. Those boys just need to stay away from the nonsense. I don't.
Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to give them an A+ for the Latu pick. I know the defensive end wasn't their biggest need on the board going into day one. However, Latu fell. Latu's hard as hell. I think they should have gone cornerback, so I guess I'll move my day one pick from an A+ to an A because they should have gone cornerback there, and they didn't go cornerback until like day 3. That's where the bad part of this draft is. I like A.D. Mitchell a lot. I really like A.D. Mitchell. Again, though, it's not a cornerback.
Right.
There's no cornerbacks on the board, so like I got to give them a B+ overall for the draft.
I agree with you. They got some guys at great value.
They got good value. They didn't get their needs where they needed.
Exactly. Like they got some safeties as we're in need, but there's no saying if they're just going to come in and start, you know?
Yeah. So like, B+ for me for the Colts. Could have definitely attacked their needs better.
Agreed.
Jacksonville. Yeah, they traded down to get Brian Thomas. The trade down is cool. Most people are giving them an A for day one.
I mean, they're essentially replacing Calvin Ridley with Calvin Ridley, in my opinion.
I get that. I get what you're saying.
You know, you're
like
taking
that.
a 6'3" receiver, moving him out, and drafting a younger 6'3" receiver.
A- for me, just because they hit their needs. They even got a kicker.
I'm going to say A- too. I feel like there were some spots that they could have gotten better players. I mean, they fucking jacked the fuck out of the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they were just going for players that were proven in a deeper conference.
It's 7 SEC picks.
It's insane. Going with straight skill. And I love the Jordan Jefferson pick.
They love that LSU shit, clearly.
Yep.
Okay, let's go down to the Chiefs. I don't like the value placed on Xavier Worthy because he was a 4th-round player that jumped to 1st round just off of his 40. His route running is not that impressive. His hands are eh.
He's going to be a straight line runner. All they got to hope on is that
he catches
his
the ball.
hands come together.
All he has to do is catch the ball. He went to the best possible situation. Anybody else picked him in the 1st round, I'd give the pick a D. The Chiefs pick him, I give the pick a B+ for the 1st round. I think there's better receivers for the Chiefs, especially after they just got Hollywood Brown, another burner.
What makes everything okay is that they were still able to get Simataya in the 2nd round.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like the Chiefs have a glaring hole anywhere or whatever. So yeah, Sumatai is hard as hell. That was a great pick. All their picks are good. I'm giving them an A overall for this draft because they're just adding players onto their already champion roster.
I agree. I give it an A minus. Like you said, any other team, Xavier Worthy isn't necessarily anything.
He can be dangerous with Mahomes.
He can be the most dangerous, but I feel like one of these other guys could have been
Better.
more dangerous. Yes.
I would have picked A.D. Mitchell over Xavier Worthy all day, personally.
Agreed. Take 3 more inches and we'll lose 0.2 fucking seconds of speed. I mean, get out of here.
That's what I'm saying. I would have picked A.D. Mitchell all day here, but it's okay. I'm not going to argue with what the Chiefs are doing. Like, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, they're winning championships, so screw it.
The Raiders, I give them an A+ for their first-round pick in Brock Bowers, just taking the best available player that fell to them that should never have been on the board in the first place. After that, though, they got Powers Johnson out of Oregon. What a pick.
Yep.
But then after that, nothing really
fell
inspired
off.
me after that. DJ Glaze is all right. I'm gonna give him a B, just a B for this draft. Brock Bowers and Powers Johnson are 2 ultimate picks that are going to actually make a difference on this roster.
Everybody else is just kind of
Yeah.
You know, I feel like every other team has kind of had somebody that you're like, oh, like, he can be good in the later rounds. I don't see anybody here that's like,
Nothing. I don't see any immediate contributors in the later rounds out of the Raiders picks.
yeah. Agreed. Los Angeles Chargers.
Chargers.
I feel like they kind of threw a wrench in everything whenever they took Joe Alt and
Yeah.
he didn't fall to Tennessee.
For sure.
They had an A draft, in my opinion. They went hard on the wide receivers, and each wide receiver that they got is oozing with potential.
Yeah, Lad McConkey's obviously amazing at route running and all that, but then the 2 late-round dudes in
Jerry
Brendan
Rice's son,
Yep.
Cornelius Johnson, is also hard as hell. He just didn't get a lot of run at Michigan. He was hurt all the time.
Yeah, but he was great when he was there. It's obviously another Michigan dude going under Harbaugh. Junior Colson, the linebacker from Michigan.
Hard.
I really like this draft. I'm going to give it an A as well.
I mean, it's just plain and simple. They did a darn good job.
Yeah. The Rams, they went Jared Verse in the first round. No one expected him to be there. This is a great pick. I'm going to have to give it to him. I'll give him an A for the Jared Verse pick. Then they went right back and got Braden Fisk, in the second round out of Florida State. And that's a great defensive tackle. So they addressed their defensive line early. They got Blake Corum, who I think can be just absolutely filthy under Sean McVay.
100%.
I like this draft. I'm giving him an A-, all around good draft.
Yeah, they got Kinchins at a good part, too, at a great value. There were a couple people that we had him going second round, third round.
Yeah, I like that.
Probably an A-, just because, like, Blake Corum, to me, is a great pick. He's going to do great things. They probably just could have done something a little bit better.
Down to Miami Dolphins. This is kind of a letdown for me. Traub Robinson with the 21st overall pick. I don't think that's a huge reach, kind of about where he was supposed to go. But I don't really like the fact that they got him there. They could have gotten a better lineman, offensive lineman right there. Patrick Paul's not a bad pick in the second. But that's it. That's the only offensive lineman that they drafted in this draft. They did not get an interior O-lineman.
They went hard at wide receiver. I'll say that.
They didn't get a defensive lineman, like an interior defensive lineman. I don't like this draft whatsoever. I'm giving him a C.
I agree. It gets a C from me.
I don't like the draft whatsoever from Miami. Down to Minnesota, though, I love what they did on day one, trading up twice to get J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner pick was amazing. He fell way too far. They just saw the value sitting in their face and had to trade up and get him, especially after losing Daniel Hunter down to Houston. That's an amazing pick. I like the Vikings draft personally. I'm going to give them an A- overall.
I agree with you. I think A- fills right into it.
And they got Will Reichard. Roll Tide.
Yep, Roll Tide. They filled their needs. They got some good guys doing it. And the fact that they were able to land Dallas Turner and J.J. McCarthy just makes it that much better.
Yeah, hell yeah. I don't think there was a single draft board in America previous to day one that had them landing both those guys.
No chance.
Down to New England.
I like it.
I like Drake May's pick at number 3. I like Jalen Polk going there in the early second round.
I also like the Joe Milton pick late.
The Tennessee QB?
Yeah.
I'm going to give the Patriots a B+. Their 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round picks, 7th round picks, like overall aren't that impressive to me. But I like Jalen Polk paired with Drake May. That's definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree.
B+ for me.
I'll do that B+ as well. Part of me wants to give it an A- just because they probably got the quarterback they were hoping for and also landed Jalen Polk. But I don't know how it's going to turn out. So, yeah, B+.
Down to New Orleans. I give him an A+ on day one for Fuaga. I give him an A overall for this draft. I think they did great. Getting Kool-Aid in the second round was awesome.
I 100% agree. It's just solid. Very solid. I give him an A as well.
I love the Fuaga pick. I think
Yes.
he's going to be great down there in New Orleans. They've been searching for a tackle.
And Kool-Aid's going to also help him a ton. A ton.
Yeah, for sure. New York Giants. They actually had an okay draft. I mean,
They did.
It's okay. They got Malik Neighbors at number 6. That was awesome. I love the Tyler Nubin pick out of Minnesota. Andrew Phillips is pretty damn good out of Kentucky as well. Like, none of these picks are bad. They're all pretty good for real, but I just can't give them an A in any shape or form because they're not like,
They're just not built.
no, like I'll give them a B+, a high B+. This is a good draft. I guess it was a step in the right direction.
It
but,
just
like,
doesn't do anything for him.
they didn't even get a quarterback late. Daniel Jones just in it.
Mm-mm.
Okay, the Jets. I'm pissed at them for not picking Brock Bowers. They traded with the Vikings from 10 to 11. Brock Bowers is still on the board. Pick the best player available. They went Fashanu, which is a great tackle. It's not a bad pick, but like I just think that they messed up by not getting Bowers.
It's okay. I mean, they wrapped around and got Corley, which is a great receiving.
Yeah, receiver, but like, dude, Brock Bowers play on tight end. Like, he'll help you with your line too. Like, he'll help you with the blocking as well. I like Braylon Allen from Wisconsin for sure. They got Jordan Travis, which is I feel like is kind of a waste of a pick at the end of the day. I get that you need a quarterback eventually. Like, you do need a quarterback to replace Rodgers with, but I don't think Jordan Travis is even close to that guy. I'm gonna give the Jets a B for this draft.
I'm going to give him a B+. I'm a little bit more of a... I like the Fashanu pick. I feel like it's going to help him out a little bit. It gives him a sense of peace of mind. Having that extra big guy up front, somebody that's premier in front of Aaron Rodgers. I also like the Malachi Corley and Braylon Allen pick. You didn't need Braylon Allen. He's going to be good. But I really like the Corley pick. He's going to come in and be probably their number 2 receiver.
Yeah, he will. He will. Okay, let's move on down to the Eagles. They have an A for me.
Somehow they managed to walk out of this draft with the best 2 cornerbacks on the board in my mind.
Yeah, Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell. Like, outside of Terry and Arnold and Kool-Aid, the 2 Alabama dudes, like, these are the best 2 cornerbacks for sure, unarguably.
And they also managed to snag Will Shipley too.
Yeah, they got Will Shipley and they got Jalix Hunt, which, like, let's not forget, he's hard as hell. The Eagles are scary.
Yeah, and they got Johnny Wilson. Holy shit. Yeah, boy, 6'6".
Yeah, the Eagles
I
scare
mean, he's
me.
massive.
I'm giving him a fat A for this draft.
I agree. They got some great dudes in great spots, and if they get their shot and they flourish in that shot, they're gonna be really good.
Hell yeah. Down to the Steelers. This is another team I give them a fat A for. They got Fatanu in the first round, which I don't even think he should have fallen to the 20th overall pick. Great value there. They get Zach Frazier in the second. Roman Wilson out of Michigan. Awesome receiver. They get Peyton Wilson at the 98th overall pick. Probably the best linebacker in this draft. He just has major injury concerns. We'll see if that ends up playing out well. Mason McCormick, another great value at 119th overall. This is an A for me. They really address their offensive line, and it's going to make a difference. We're going to see it on the field this year. We're going to see the difference in the Steelers' offense.
Yeah, we will. They got some great guys. I agree with you. It's just a good draft. Filled a lot of needs.
Okay, down to the Niners. I did not like their first-round pick in Ricky Pearsall. I thought there was much better receivers on the board. Clearly, they like this dude. I'll give them a B+ for that pick.
It was just kind of a mad draft. To me, they get a B just because
I'll
the
give them a
guys,
B.
they're good. I feel like there were better people on the board at the times of.
They hit their needs. Seattle Seahawks. I think they had just an amazing first 2 rounds. They got Byron Murphy out of Texas. Kind of threw us all for a loop. I think we both had them getting Jared Verse if he fell to them. But Byron Murphy, I mean, what a player, what a guy. He's going to be great for them. I have no doubts in my mind.
Yeah. And then being able to fill Christian Haynes in the second round is great too. They've been looking
Third
for an
round.
inside third round.
Yeah.
Even better. They've been looking for a guy to fill in on the inside for quite some time.
Yeah, great value for Christian Haynes. He went right around the same time as Cooper Beebe, I think right after. And yeah, like those two guards, both of them, they fell. Great value for the Seahawks there. They get a great linebacker in Tyrese Knight. I like Pritchett out of Auburn a lot. The defensive back they got, dude. This is a good draft. I'm giving them a solid A right here.
I agree with you. I'll give them an A as well. You know, they hit a couple of needs, but even though they didn't just tackle straight needs, they filled it with solid players.
They got great players based off the draft availability.
Yes.
Like what was sitting there for them. Okay, down to Tampa Bay. They started off with Graham Barton out of Duke, the center, which I think is a pretty solid pick. After that, though, they didn't really get any good value picks.
Braswell's good because he comes in and immediately replaces Shaq Barrett.
He's good, but like I don't know about the value of where they picked him. I give him a B+ on this draft.
I give him a B+ as well. I like the players that they picked. Bucky Irving, Jalen McMillan, great picks. Part of me that feels like Jalen McMillan might have been there later than the third round.
Yeah.
And Bucky, I mean, I can't say anything about Bucky Irving. He shouldn't have been there in the fourth round. But
they didn't need him.
No, yeah, they didn't need him per se.
Okay, down to Tennessee Titans. I think their whole draft was kind of thrown off by Joe Alt not being available for them to pick at 7. They went J.C. Latham out of Alabama. I don't think that's a bad pick, but I'm going to give him a B+ for the whole draft overall. Tavondre Sweat out of Texas, the defensive lineman, is solid. Cedric Gray is solid out of North Carolina. Like, all these are, like, solid picks.
I'm going to give him an A- just because I feel like they really hit those needs. I know that Joe Alt leaving the board really threw them for a loop, but being able to wrap around and get J.C. Latham, who got best lineman in the country, I mean, it's not a bad consolation pick.
Down to Washington, I really love the Jaden Daniels pick. I like the fact that they got Johnny Newton in the second.
Of course, they ended up with the best lineman in the entire draft.
Yeah.
Washington, classic.
Of course. Down the board, though, decent picks all the way. I feel like I'm just going to give them a nice A- on this draft.
Agreed.
They hit a good draft. Washington did good with what they had in front of them.
Yes, yeah. I feel like they drafted who they wanted at the points that they wanted to. Johnny Newton was value, and then being able to take Sinat.
The K-State tight end? Yeah, that guy was good, dude.
I feel like that just kind of put the cherry on top for them. So they were able to get some guys that they were really comfortable with. Solid.
I'm happy with what they did. Overall, just what an amazing draft. I think we only had 3 teams or 4 teams that we gave a C or lower to today.
I mean, it was an awesome draft. Everybody did. They filled their needs. And there's going to be a lot of guys that come out of the 4th, 5th, 6th range that are going to be the guys that we're talking about.
Yeah. All right, guys, take it easy. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, this is going to be one hell of a 2024 NFL season. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on all our other platforms, and we will be back with a ton of fantasy content getting ready for this season. Take it easy, y'all.
See y'all later.